Hello, this is Scholar Strive doing some math. Today in geometry, I'll be looking at circumference and arc length. So we need to remember that circumference deals with the perimeter of the circle. It's the distance around the circle. And how we find it is either 2 pi r, and remember pi mean about 3.14. When you're punching this in your calculator, there should be a pi button. Don't punch in 3.14 anymore, but actually use the pi button. It's more accurate. So we either do 2 pi times the radius or pi times the diameter. So if we have the diameter, we can just multiply it by pi to get our circumference, or if we have the radius, times it by 2 and then times it by pi. Arc length is a piece of the circumference of a circle. It is a fraction of the circumference of the whole circle. So arc length so instead of the whole distance, it's just a piece. So the ratio of the length of an arc to the whole measure of the circumference is equal to the ratio of the arc measure in degrees to 360. So let's draw a picture here. Oops. Let's call this AB, and let's call this P. So if we wanted to know the arc length of AB, we would use the fact that we know the circumference, which is 2 pi r, is equal to the measure of arc AB in degrees over 360. And don't worry, we'll do some examples. Alright, find the indicated measure. Answer in terms of pi or rounded to the nearest hundredth. Alright. So a circumference, we're looking for the circumference of the circle with radius of 11 meters. So remember, circumference is 2 times pi times r. So 2 times pi times 11, which is 22 pi. And we would be done. If we wanted to use decimal, we would do 22 times pi in our calculator, and that will give us 69.11. They're asking for the hundredths place, which is 2 decimal points. Okay, radius of a circle with circumference of 18 yards. So now we're going backwards. They give us their circumference, and we're looking for the radius. So circumference is 18 equals 2 pi times the radius. We're going to divide by 2 pi to both sides, and we'll get 9 over pi equals r yards. And as a decimal, this would be 2.86 yards. Okay, now we have a circumference of a circle with diameter 23. All right. So if they give us the diameter, we just do diameter times pi, or pi d. So this would be 23 pi inches. And if we wanted to do the nearest hundredth, that would be 72.26 inches. Dimensions of a skateboard wheel are shown in millimeters here. How far does the wheel travel in 35 revolutions? So we're trying to find the circumference of this circle and then multiply it by 35 to get the distance. So first thing we need to do is find either the radius or the diameter of the circle. In this case, we can't find the radius, but we can find the diameter. So 20 plus 15 plus 20 is, plus 20 is 55 millimeters. Okay, the circumference is pi times diameter. So 55 pi, which is 172.8 millimeters. Calculate the distance for 35 revolutions. So we do that number times 35, which is about 6,047.6 millimeters. And they say answer to the nearest meter. So we need to convert this. There is 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. So this is about 6.0476 meters. Oh, and they want to round it to the nearest meter. So we just round it to just 6 meters. Skateboard wheel has a diameter of 56 millimeters. How many revolutions does it make if it travels 3 meters? Okay, so circumference is pi times d. 56 pi, which rounds to 175.93 millimeters. Okay, we're going to take that 175.93 and multiply it by 3, which will give us the distance of 3 revolutions. Oh, wait. Oh. No, they're asking for how many revolutions does it travel in 3 meters. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we need to convert this 175.93 millimeters into regular old meters, because 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters. So I'm going to get 0.176 about for 1 revolution. So we do 3 divided by that number, and it'll do about 17 revolutions. Okay, so once again, I started with finding the perimeter of the wheel using the circumference, pi times d. I took that amount because our goal is to find out how many revolutions does it make if it travels 3 meters. So I need to convert millimeters into meters, and that'll tell me how the distance for 1 revolution would be. And then if it traveled 3 meters, we just divide it by how much by the distance of a revolution to give us how many revolutions. All right, let's take a look at arc length. So remember, arc length is equal to is equal to the arc measure divided by 360 times 2 pi r. Which is the circumference. So this first part is the piece of the pi, or the circle, piece of the circle, and we're multiplying it by the full circle. So we're taking a piece of the circle. So arc measure is 88 degrees over 360 times 2 pi, and r is 2. Okay, so this will be about 352 pi over 360. And if we need to round it, it'll be 3.07 meters. Okay, so let's do that again. So arc length is equal to, oh, I didn't even notice. Okay, so our goal is to find the measure, so we're looking for the degree measurement of RS. That's odd. Oh, okay. That's why I was confused. Because this doesn't look like the diameter if you look closely, and it's not. They're just telling you that the radius is 12.3. Alright. So, we still going to use the same formula. Arc length is equal to the arc measure. So let's just say RS, the measure of RS over 360 times 2 times pi times r over 1. So we're going to put in what we know. We know that the arc length is 38 feet. And we're looking for the measure of the arc over 360 times 2 times pi times r, which is 12.3. Okay. So this is going to be first thing, I'm going to get rid of this denominator by multiplying both sides by 360. So it's 360 times 38. And I'm just going to call the arc measure of arc RS is just x. So x times 2 times pi times 12.3. Okay, to get x by itself, I'm going to divide by everything on the right side. So I have on top 360 times 38 divided by 2 times pi times 12.3. Punch this into your calculator, and you should get about 177 degrees. So almost 180, but not quite. Because if that 12.3 was if that was the diameter, then half the circle is 180 degrees. Alright, let's do some more. So arc length, so we're looking for the distance from A to B around the circle here. So arc length is equal to arc measure, which is 97, over 360 times 2 times pi times r, which is 4. We'll go into your calculator, do 97 times 2 times pi times 4, and divide by 360, and we'll get 3.07, or wait, oh no, wrong one, 6.77 square feet. Oh, regular feet. Not area, we're just doing distance. Alright, so this time they want to find the circumference of circle Z. Okay, so it's still the same formula. Arc length is equal to arc measure of xy, the arc, over 360 times 2 times pi times r. But 2 times pi times r is our circumference, so I'm just going to leave it as C. So I'm going to put in what we know. 3.44 equals 60 over 360 times C. Okay, and then we solve for C, and we'll get, so you multiply both sides by 360, then divide by 60, and you'll get 20.64 meters for the circumference. Now, if you wanted to take it one step further and find the radius, you would divide that number by 2 pi, and you would get your radius. Alright, a luggage conveyor belt at an airport is shown. The curved ends each form a 180-degree arc. The radius of each outer arc is 8 feet. Measuring from the outside edge of the conveyor belt, how far does the suitcase travel in one rotation around the conveyor belt? So basically, they want you to find the distance around this object here. So they tell you that these are 180-degree turns, or 180 degrees, the arc measure. So that means these are semicircles or half circles. So we need to find half the perimeter. So our distance here is 1/2 perimeter of circle 1 plus 1/2 the perimeter of circle 2, which would be the outer edges, plus 2 times the straight distance of 20. And that'll give us our distance. So 1/2 perimeter 1, let's say the top one is a perimeter. So perimeter or circumference is 2 pi r plus 1/2 of 2 pi r plus 2 times 20, which is 40. half of 2 pi is 1 pi, times 8 is 8 pi, plus 4 pi, plus 40. Okay, and then we use our calculator to figure out... Oh wait, did I do that right? One half of 2 pi r. Yeah, that's right. So we'll have 12 pi plus 40. And now we're going to use our calculator. 12 times pi plus 40 is 77.7. And what are we doing in feet? Feet. And then let's make sure we check the... So the luggage starts on one end and then goes in one rotation. Yep. All right. Hopefully this helped you out. Have a good day.